All right, everybody, we're live. We are about 30 minutes away from the PFL World Championship preliminary card kicking off on ESPN Plus. That'll go till 8 p.m. Eastern, and then, and only then, will we head to pay-per-view. $49.99 plus tax of your hard-earned dollars will get you 7 fights, 6 title fights, and Aspen Ladd's PFL debut against Julia Budd.
Value for money, Mike. It's value for money.
Giving.
See, I got my PFL I'm ready. Let's go. Let's crown 6 champions.
$6 million on the line. So many millies. So many world titles. So many potential storylines. We do have a poll up, by the way. This is the People's Pre-Fight Show for the PFL World Championship. Poll is very simple. Will you buy the pay-per-view tonight? 14% thus far say yes. 7% says maybe. And if you could do the math, 79% say no.
I love it. I love that. And 14's higher than I would have thought. So hell yeah, way to go, guys.
All right. Well, I didn't even tweet this out.
Oh, gotta let the people know, Mike.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Let's boost those.
I had a pre-tweet ready. I just didn't put the link in. All right, this is compelling television. So this is the People's Pre-Fight Show, which means we're just going to answer your questions until the first fight begins. So let's get after this thing. Let's see what you guys have to say. All right, we'll start here. Forrest Daniels, what happens, Jed, if Aspen Ladd loses tonight? Where does she go? I mean, I think this is a pretty easy answer.
She just hangs around the PFL, right? Didn't she signed with the PFL? So I don't know. Well, if she loses, then we finally get to do Kayla versus Julia Budd, which was supposed to already have happened. So sure. And then she fights the loser of Pacheco Harrison, which I assume is going to be Pacheco, but maybe not. I know that they technically have other women in the PFL roster, but I don't know. The Ukrainian woman, Elena, what's her name? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Elena Klesnik.
There you go. I don't know. She's around. You could do that. Whoever. I am not that interested in what Aspen Ladd does. I don't know, Mike. Do you have better thoughts than what I just gave out?
I mean, you're pretty much right. She's just gonna fight in the tournament next year. Now,
hey, she gets to fight. Maybe fight for $1 million.
It's possible. I mean, they're going to have to do a featherweight division to do that. Yeah. And it's possible because Kayla's already said that after this fight, she has 2 fights left in her deal, which means she's not going to join the next season of the PFL, like what the typical season would actually look like. She was going to do essentially the super fights, get 2 out of there, and then maybe she'll come back and keep doing that, but who the hell knows? Let's, but she'll just fight in the next season. I'm sure they'll sign some more feathies and we'll get after it.
We'll just mixing it up. Just maybe she'll be a lightweight by then. Who knows?
And shout out to the people in the UK who get to watch this bad boy for free. Just supposed to have Kayla wins tonight. What will the reaction be? We all know Larissa Pacheco is the only competition Kayla has had in the PFL.
I assume the reaction for this is just, all right. That's the issue here, right? I mean, we could get all into the dynamics of doing this as a pay-per-view. One of the big parts is, hey, Harrison is obviously the biggest star in your company. I have no idea if she is an actual tractionable star. I would venture to say that our metrics do not suggest she is an enormous star, but maybe PFL has some more. But it's the problem with women like her, and really with women like her, it really just kind of means cyborg. Historically, there isn't a compelling storyline. You're trying to sell the idea of watch one of the best fighters compete, but because it is an assumed win, that has less value. Inherently, when Ronda was doing her thing, even though Ronda was assumed to win those fights, Ronda was compelling because she was beating people in Vine clips, just 15-second getting them out of there, to where everybody's standing up and saying, all right, Ronda just outdid herself. She knocked out a girl in 10 seconds. She hip tossed an armbar a girl in 20 seconds. You're getting calls from family members. I got calls from family members being like, this Ronda Rousey, like, wow, this is insane. Should I watch the next time she fights? Harrison has been dominant, but it has not, it is a smothering dominance of takedown to finish, not hip toss, immediately armbar you stuff that like fits in a really digestible way. And so I have no idea if she can sell, if people are interested or will care, because the competing part of that is this isn't compelling. She's beaten Pacheco twice. Like, we know we assume the outcome. Anything can happen. So if you're not tuning in to see, well, what could happen, you have to pose the question. Viewers are not going to buy something they know the answer to, right? There has to be the question of what will happen. And that question has to either be who will win, what will happen, and who will defeat the other, like, or what kind of dope shit is about to happen when this person wins. And I am not at all confident that Kayla poses that question to the average viewer. And so to this point, like, I think the reaction is just gonna be like, yeah, Kayla beat the woman she's beaten twice already.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty much what it usually is. Oh, come on. Give her somebody good, level of competition, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, she's probably going to fight Aspen Ladd next. I mean, that's the other option for Aspen.
I'm picking Bud.
If she loses, she's out of the Kayla fight. But
I'm picking Bud to beat Ladd.
Yeah, that could happen as well. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. How can you have any
confidence in Aspen Ladd at this point in life?
Maybe I got no confidence.
I know, but everything about her career has been tumultuous for the last like 2 years. I can't trust her at all. Like, I got nothing.
I am intrigued by that fight. I'm also intrigued by the Shaman Moraes fight to see how he looks coming back, being at featherweight.
That's like the weirdest part of this whole card. Yeah. I think the two most intriguing fights are the non-championship fights. And so they're not as intriguing in part because they're not worth $1 million a piece. But like, Ante Delija knocked out Mateus Scheffel earlier this year, like 6 months ago. Like, we know how that fight's going to go. We know how Kayla's going to go. You know, like, OAM Stevie Ray is a quality fight, but I feel like we can pretty much understand like what's going to happen there. There's not a ton of intrigue in most of these fights, but those two fights are wildly intriguing, and yet they are the lowest stakes of all of them. Super weird.
Of the title, Brennan Loughnane and Bubba Jenkins.
That's the most competitive, but I think Loughnane is really just going to show out tonight. I think he's about to have his career-defining performance tonight. He looks so good against Wade, man. He looks so good.
We know this question was coming. What would the number of buys have to be in order for the PFL to consider this a success? Now, I have no idea if we will get numbers on this. The only way I think we'll get numbers on this is if it does gangbusters, which I don't think it's going to. I just don't think at this price point it's going to. And I held out hope that when I woke up this morning, we were going to see the old Black Friday thing that I've been predicting for a few weeks now.
I loved your idea.
It didn't happen. It just didn't happen, and we're still paying $49.99. So on BTL, your answer was, I was like, over, under, and you said under, whatever I say. And I think I said 5,000. You're like, said it was so far under. You didn't hesitate to answer that question. So for this to be a success for the PFL, how many pay-per-views will they have to buy? Will people have to buy?
I've changed my mind on this for one very specific reason. Because I said something as a joke on Twitter the other day. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, that's probably just true. So here's my thought on this as a pay-per-view, right? I'm fine with it. I still think it's dumb from like a broad picture promotional standpoint, because you should be giving your product out for free unless you really can monetize it. But they have to pay $6 million tonight, and they have to give Ante Delija $1 million US dollars. I'll say that again. Ante Delija is going to make more money than I probably will in the next 20 years tonight. And I feel pretty confident in saying that I am better at my job than he is at his. And that hurts me to some point. Good for him. If you get that bag, baby, get that bag. Good for you. But that $1 million has to come from somewhere. And sure, the PFL has investors, and that money's in escrow. That money is coming from there. But they can subsidize it by just seeing who will pay them some more money to subsidize this. This is less a drive to make a profit. They are assuming a loss on this event because that's sort of how this works. Unless you want to factor in my assumption is they actually do their books as a season-long thing, as opposed to like doing an event-by-event breakdown. Just because of the way this is structured, they clearly have costs backloaded towards the championship. So you want to be recouping money through X events in the lead up, the 10 fights, the 10 events before. But this is all just extra. Whoever buys a pay-per-view, that's an extra $25 or $30 to them because the ESPN's probably taking half. I don't actually know the financials. I'm assuming they're taking a 50% cut. But they're not paying any fighter pay-per-view points. That's what Kayla said. If any fighter was getting it, it would be Kayla. And Kayla said she ain't getting pay-per-view points here. So this is just all profit for them. This is recouping costs from having to drop a $6 million carry here, essentially. And, maybe it's a fact-finding mission. Let's see how this does. If this does okay, and this is a reliable, or at least because if they make $25 a pop, they sell 10,000 of these things. That's not an insignificant amount of money, frankly. Like, maybe they can see that and go, okay, well, here's what we need to tweak and work on and build towards. Again, I think it's probably still not as good as overall just not charging for this and giving your product free to people, but there's more of a reason to this than I previously thought, even if I do think that this price point is bad.
It's an interesting way to look at it. But if you're going to this pay-per-view model next year, because they're building towards this is like the first one, and they're going to do a bunch of these next year with Kayla being the face of it.
I think that's going to change.
Yeah,
I think they will do 2-3 pay-per-views next year. They will, and maybe just 2. Kayla, because Kayla is the thing that Kayla's the star they're building around. Kayla will be on pay-per-views moving forward because that's what she wants contractually, money-wise, etc. I think they will move to the championships is on pay-per-view every year, plus Kayla's on pay-per-view. And maybe that overlaps because maybe they throw Kayla on the championships at the end of the year or whatever. I strongly doubt they're just doing like PFL 5, the lightweight tournament or lightweight qualifiers on pay-per-view, because that just does not seem monetarily sustainable for them, like in any regard. So I think this is a fact-finding mission and a way to recoup costs for having to give Ante Delija and Sadibou Sai and Rob Wilkinson, like all those dudes have to get $1 million. And this is just whatever they can get back on that, and maybe just now have a baseline to start with from a pay-per-view standpoint, from a buy standpoint, frankly, from a negotiations with Kayla standpoint about like, here's how we look at things or whatever. I think that's all this is. This is just fact finding. And that's, there's a lot of business sense in that, even if, again, I think the price point should be lower. Still think this should be free in general.
Yes. I think I'm trying to they need the next 6 months for the PFL, is important. This is an important night for them, but the next 6 months, actually less than that, the next 3 to 4 months after this card ends, this is the most pivotal time for them. Their free agency, they need to go gangbusters. They need to find a way to get Paulo Costa over to the PFL immediately. They need to figure out a way to do it. They need to talk to Francis Ngannou's people right now and figure it out. I don't think he's going to sign with them. I think if the UFC dangles that John Jones fight in front of him long enough, he's going to stick around. But you got to go after these guys. These are the guys you need to go after. Nate Diaz, you're not going to get him, but you got to take shots at these guys. You have to bring them over. You have to, if you can get one or two of these free agents who have names over for next season, you might have a little something. But what the Anthony Pettis? I like Anthony's a legend of the sport. He's done great things, but at this point in his career, he ain't selling you pay-per-views. He's just not.
I would back up the money truck for Ngannou. I do not in any, like, the fact that somehow, because I was convinced that the UFC was never getting him back. The fact that he is somehow, like, the assumption is now that he is going back to the UFC. It is promotional malpractice. Like, I don't care what you have to pay him, because it's not that much, and he is worth it. It is there is no chance the UFC is going to pay him the amount of money that you can afford that will not cripple you. And this is, if Patrick Mahomes became a fucking free agent, every football team, I don't give a shit who is your quarterback, but if he was like, I'm leaving KC, I'm a free agent, it does not matter. It does not matter what team you are, what your quarterback situation is. Every single one of them. And God love Ariel, and he can pretend that this wouldn't be true. The Bills would be like, dude, we will swap you Josh Allen and a first rounder, because that is the
100%.
dude. And there is not one. And I am not saying that Francis Ngannou is the greatest fighter of all time or whatever, but he is one of the 5 best pound for pound fighters. He is the heavyweight champion of the world. And he is electric and dynamic in a way that is consumable and does not matter at all who he fights. You can have him fight Ante Delija and no one will complain, because he will just nuke the terrible heavyweight division that you have. And it is just, who gives a shit? Nobody cares. Yes, it is dope when Deontay Wilder fights like Tyson Fury, and that is this high-end great thing. But we will also tune in to watch Deontay Wilder blow some random European, Eurasian dude's head off his shoulders, because it is a required title fight. You can't do that with every weight class. It does not work. But with that man at heavyweight, you just need a body, a warm, living human being across the stable from him, and say, Francis, kill, and have him just uppercut that man out of the cage and to the moon. I would pay $50 for any Francis fight. Any MMA fan would, because it goes back to what I said. It is posing the question. Francis is going to win. What is it going to look like when he punts a man out of the cage? I need to see, and I will pay you $50 for it. There is no reason what he should become the highest paid fighter in MMA history right now. And if not, then that is like a just straight up Bellator. Everyone should be fired. Everyone that works at Bellator. If I owned Bellator, if I'm Viacom and Francis doesn't come to us, because I'm Viacom, it is not like I have short pockets and I have any awareness of this. Well, Scott, you're fired. I don't care what else you've done. Why did you not get Patrick Mahomes? Sell the farm, sell everything, because he is what matters. And that PFL doesn't have him, like that nobody has him, or that the UFC has the inside track, is mind-boggling. Because sure, Francis wants to fight John Jones for legacy or whatever. You can't eat legacy. And you pay that man and you say, here is all of the money and a free check. So if you can get a Deontay Wilder boxing match or a Tyson Fury one, go for it, buddy. We just need to know the date that's going to happen so we can book around that. Sure. There is no world in which that man should come back to the UFC, and if the PFL doesn't do better or Bellator doesn't do better, fuck them. Like, they deserve to be in the shitboxy third-rate thing. Like, this isn't that freaking hard, man. It just isn't. Like, you have a generational opportunity. Do something about it.
Well said. I mean, can't really add to that. Let's see.
That stuff just kills me, because, like, I'm not even opposed to them backing up the money truck for Pettis and stuff. And like, it's spend money, acquire good fighters. It is better to have good fighters on your roster than not. But like, why are you alligator arming when it's this dude? Like, that is insane. And no other professional organization in a similar situation would be like, yeah, I don't know if we can pay Patrick Mahomes this amount of money, or like, that's just nonsense. It's like, yes, I will pay you a king's ransom because he is worth that.
As of now, our poll is at 82% no in buying the pay-per-view, 7% maybe,
guys.
and 11% yes. 11%
Way to go, 11.
What does a tourney win mean for someone like Olivier Aubin-Mercier besides the check? Seems like venturing back to the UFC is unlikely. I'd probably put Stevie Ray in this question as well. What would a tourney win mean for either of these guys?
I mean, well, that's a really tough question, honestly. It's very complicated. It doesn't mean nothing. Like, it is from a legacy standpoint. You're a champion. You're a champion in another organization. You are a champion. You're not the champion of the world in the ways that we normally consider that. You are absolutely undeniably a champion. You have done something incredibly hard. The PFL fighters, and it maybe actually is to their own detriment, honestly. Everybody who's in there who interviews talks about how difficult it is. And I kind of feel like maybe that has this like inverted reaction to it where everyone's like, well, of course it's tough. You fight there. The PFL is an entirely different ball game than regular fighting. And I think it is incredibly difficult. Like, it's super hard to do this. And I don't think that because of the way combat sports fans consume fighting, we're really going to ever give it its due. But fighting 4 times or 5 times, whatever it is it 5? Do they fight 1, 2, 3, 4? They're 4 times in a
2 regular seasons,
2 regular
playoff
season
fight,
thing,
and then they're in.
Yeah. So, fighting 4 times in a 6-month span the human body is not meant to do that at a very high level, the level at which these people are training during the time. And yeah, you get the off season to recover, but it's incredibly fucking difficult, man. And so that says something. I don't care that your level of competition isn't like otherworldly high. Lightweight is still lightweight. Like, Stevie Ray and OAM didn't get cut from the UFC because they were booty. Like, it's just a deep ass division. If you threw them back in there, they're probably not top 15 guys, but they're up front. Both of them are in the fringe in the conversation like they were when they left. Like, it's just a Shark Tank. And you could absolutely convince me that either of these dudes could beat Michael Chandler. I think I would pick Chandler to beat him, but it's in no way impossible that they beat Michael Chandler. Like, it's a great win. It means something for your legacy. You get a belt to take home and put on the belt. You get to be called champ forever. That's a combat sports thing, and you can't ever take that away. And you get $1 million. You're doing prize fighting better than 99% of the people that are currently under UFC contract right now if you win this thing. So good for them.
Someone asked earlier if the main event of this card was Kayla Harrison versus Chris Cyborg, would it be worth the $50 price tag?
Yeah. Okay. I think this is still worth it. I've come around on that a little bit. I think it is worth it mainly because, and to some extent, well, okay, so I will say this. It's a major caveat. If all of these fights go to decision, this is the worst event in human history, and I will lay down in traffic. I am hopeful that will not be the case.
Oh, me too.
If most of these are finishes or we get a few finishes, I think this is worth it because at the end of the day, the non-tournament fight is relevant MMA, a very relevant fight to the current 145 weight class globally. And the other 6 fights are fights for $1 million. And that does not happen ever in this sport. Like, there have been, if you take away these 6 fights that are for $1 million, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, there are probably 10 or fewer the fights the rest of this year where $1 million was being earned on one side of the ball. And it might be way fewer than 10. I'm just trying to give myself a higher ballpark. Izzy fought 3 times. My guess is he's making about $1 million with the pay-per-views. Yeah, my guess is he's doing that. Oliveira might have snuck his way in there at the end. Like, I think there's there. So that is high stakes. Like, even if these aren't the highest level fighters, they are competitive fights. Like, none of these fights are washouts, frankly. Like, everybody can win tonight in these. For $1 million, you're getting 6 of them, and a couple of them are even relevant. Again, Ray Aubin-Mercier, I suspect the winner of that cracks the MMA fighting top 15 lightweight rankings. Like, that is my guess is what will happen there. They'll come in at number 15 or 14.
There'll be Favres.
There'll be or certainly Favres. Rob Wilkinson is not a bad light heavyweight. Like, he ain't a good one, but he's not. That's a trash ass division. Like, he wins this, he'll be a Favre too. Elijah Shuffle we don't have to talk about. Loughnane, Bubba Jenkins is a very quality fight. And again,
it's a good one.
If Loughnane wins, he's probably a Favre. Like, these are relevant fights with huge stakes, and you get 7 of them for $50, which if it doesn't all go to time, this event is totally worth your $50. If they all go to time, it might be a tough hang, but hey, you're getting 3 hours of fighting for $50, which is, it's okay.
As long as I don't want to see a bunch of decisions, but the pacing needs to be on. We can't.
I cannot
have 30 minutes between fights. We can't.
They are not totally inept, so I suspect that they know this and will be moving quickly.
Okay. When is Shane? That's
a hope.
Back?
If I'm wrong, that sucks.
Damn kablam. When is Shane Burgos coming back? So Shane Burgos was supposed to fight on this card. He was supposed to fight on this card against Marlon Moraes, and we talked about, it was Thanksgiving yesterday, and we talked about what we were thankful for on BTL. Let me just mention, and I hate that Shane Burgos got injured for this to happen, but I'm thankful that Shane Burgos, Marlon Moraes is no longer happening, because that would have been a bad night for Marlon Moraes. A really, really bad night for him. So from what I understand, Shane will probably be ready for the 2023 season. No idea what the injury actually was, but it was enough to keep him out of this fight. He's pissed that he's not fighting on this card. He's pissed he's not fighting in New York. And it probably hurt ticket sales, if we're being honest. It probably hurt ticket sales a bit, because Burgos travels with a pack. So, yeah. Oh, hopefully he'll be ready for the 2023 season.
You know the answer is better than I do there. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm glad. I think Marlon actually is going to win. I decided that I think Marlon is going to win this fight.
I loved his interview with Ariel. I really did.
I didn't pay attention. I actually missed it entirely.
Yeah, I liked what he had to say. He seemed in good spirits. This wasn't, because you could tell in his last few fights, he was just exhausted. He was just trying to get through it, because he was just beat up from trying to cut to 135. And here he's just upbeat. Seeing him and Ariel talk to each other, him being, an Ali guy, it just warmed my heart, It warmed my heart.
He does have a win over Shaman. Back to the WSOF days, baby.
Third round
from whence he started. Now he returns to the new WSOF.
BTL question: could Meshew versus Danis outsell this PFL card?
Probably not. No, I don't think so. I do damn better than half of these people at selling a fight card, though. But no, I don't think so.
No. I'm just catching up. I'm basically in the midst of your Francis Ngannou rant. Most exciting fight in the prelims, I think it's the Moraes fight. I think I don't know if it will end up being the most exciting, but it is the most intriguing.
4 fights on the prelims.
Yeah, it's Moraes to me. I don't think it's.
I don't know. I mean, that's certainly the most intriguing, and probably will be the most exciting, just because the way they fight. But Natan Schultz, Jeremy Stevens is probably fun. That's probably gonna be fun.
That's true.
I don't know that it goes very long, but look, it's not a bad card. I mean, you're putting Gleason Tebow against another Russian. That's historically been a great strategy. So it's fine. The undercard is just here to kill time until we get to the big ass main card.
Thank you, Scott. The BTL podcast that we had no idea we were going to talk about, and then we went for 90 minutes just yelling and screaming. It was a good time. It was a good time. Mad. All right, what else we got? Let's get some more questions in. Someone asked, it could be about anything at this point. We're waiting for the first fight to start.
Do you have it pulled up? Because I don't have it pulled up.
Yeah, Jonathan Coachman and Ian Parker are talking bets right now. So it doesn't look like we're anywhere near the fight starting. Because, I mean, that would not surprise me at all.
Betting on the PFL is just a terrible idea. Says as a man who has a lot of PFL action down tonight.
How much do you have? How many bets do you have on this card?
Hold on.
Are we at double digits?
No, I only have 9. Well, I have 10 total bets. 2 of them are parlays. One of them is an idiot parlay. I parlayed all the championship fights together. Just for funsies, in case I went 6-0 on them. Honestly, it doesn't pay out that much, which is lame as shit. And then I have one other parlay, and the rest is there. My book does not have a lot of lines, which is pretty lame. Like they have straight action and over unders, but I don't have any prop at the book that I bet with. So it's a shame.
Over under 8 hours total fight card duration. So 5:30.
Under
we're saying,
for sure.
Okay, we're saying it ends before 1:30 a.m.
Under for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it should. God, if this is over, it's a really it's bad.
I feel under. I feel confident in under there.
If you had to put a percentage out of 100, what is the likelihood that Pacheco catches Kayla and KOs her? I will say this, and I don't know what to tell you. It's just the way that it is. There will not be a post-fight show unless this exact thing happens. I'm just putting it out there. It won't be really a post-fight show. It'll just us be like, holy shit, Kayla Harrison just lost. If Pacheco beats Kayla Harrison, we're going to be back here talking about it.
Just be me cackling.
So percentage out of 100, Pacheco knocks Kayla out and catches her with something.
15. I believe that Kayla will win this fight. She should, certainly. She's won it twice before. I like Pacheco. I think Pacheco has improved a lot. She is still young. She's only 28 years old. She seems to not have any lack of confidence despite having lost horribly badly to Kayla twice before. But I guess, not getting finished, she can, moral victory or whatever. I will say, I was a part of me as a man with several bets down with Kayla and parlays, etc. Part of me felt a little some type of way because one, Kayla is not nearly as big a betting favorite as I would have imagined. I don't know. Do you have odds up?
Yes.
Because at the time she was minus 500. I assume that line has moved towards her.
It is minus 800 now.
Okay. We're starting to get a little closer, which is good. I expected her to be 4 digits just because she's won this fight twice before. And when she was only minus 5, we were like, why is this so? What does Vegas know that we don't? And then Kayla went on Ariel, and she did not elucidate what was up, but she talked about having having had a very difficult year, having to deal with some very serious things. She did not explain at all what any of that was. You could make some inferences, but they are pretty much wild guesses. And so I won't speculate on that here, but I don't have any idea what that means. And that gives me concern as she goes into a fist fight with a professional cage fighter who is quality, if not great. So I'm giving Pacheco more of a chance than I would have probably initially. I'll go 15%.
Yeah, I think it's probably, I'll go a little higher. I mean, honestly, if Pacheco wins, that's how she's going to win. I just don't see this going any other way. And I'd give her like an 18% chance of winning, which just seems like more than it should be. But again, with what Jed just said, and it's a lot of fights, man. I mean, it's just a lot of fights. It's just been doing it for years. It just catches up with you, man. It just catches up. So 18%, because honestly, that's the only way she wins this fight.
I will say the gambling odds at minus 800 implies like an 89% win probability for Kayla. So the sports books believe that Pacheco has about a 10% chance.
So final poll results. Will you buy the pay-per-view? Maybe 8%. Yes, 10%. No, 81%. 81%. So the first fight is about to begin, by the way.
It is making the walk.
It is an amateur fight, by the way. We're going Amy to kick off the festivities.
Why?
Biagio Ali Walsh.
Fight a pro fight. Why is this an Amy fight?
It's the grandson of Muhammad Ali. So there you go. Amateur PFL
fight,
debut.
Just be a pro. Why is it an amateur fight?
Stream Couture trained guy. So let's do our main card predictions, and then we'll get.
We got a lot of them, so we should hop too.
Let's start with the first fight on the card for the light heavyweight championship. Omari Akhmedov versus Rob Wilkinson. Who gets it done?
I've vacillated, but I'm going Rob Wilkinson, KO TKO round 2. Akhmedov tends to fade a little bit, very, very small. Rob Wilkinson has been very good at knocking people out lately. So give me Rob round 2.
Yeah, I'll go Rob as well. But if Omari knocked him out in the first round, it would not shock me in the slightest. But if it gets out of the first, it's Rob's fight to lose, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think this fight is for sure not going the full 5, which is nice.
Yeah. Marlon Moraes, you're picking him to win?
It's not a main card fight, but I am going to
I know,
pick
but
him.
It's the second most fascinating fight on the card.
He won the last one, and if you listened to No Bets Barred, you may have heard me note that I think we might see a better Marlon because he doesn't have to study for as many tests as he did in the UFC. And studying is very difficult when you're getting...
Oh, look at Miguel Flores getting the ring announcing rub tonight. Nice. The Flores family, man, these guys are absolute animals. Him and Ray Flores, just
great.
Just
look at that pocket square. So I'm taking Moraes. I'm going to go KO round 1. I think he's going to come out like a bat out of hell.
I agree. Welterweight title. Delano Taylor, Sada Busai. Who gets it done?
I'm betting on Sai because he looked very, very good. I kind of think I'm wrong, though, and Taylor's going to get this done. It's weird because the way Taylor made it in is a little strange, but, F it. I'm going to take Taylor. He's young, big, can match size, physicality. He is not as clean a striker, but I'll take him to land something big. Give me Taylor.
Yeah, Sai looked great in his last fight. He definitely did. I feel like
he's looked good this season.
Oh, 100%. And I think the betting line has gone where it's gone mostly because of the Rory fight. And it just wasn't anywhere near the Rory that we all know and love, which is still a good win, good name on the resume. But I'm with you on this one. I think Taylor can get it done. Maybe win a decision. Stevie Ray, OAM. Who gets it done? Who's the lightweight champion at the end of the night?
OAM. He's way too good a grappler. Stevie Ray can be tricky and weird, but OAM is a brick, and you ain't gonna twist to that, man. You're not gonna get too wily with it. Give me OAM decision for sure, though. This one is not getting finished.
I'm gonna go Stevie Ray. I listen. This fight's gonna be really fun, so I'll just
best fight on the card by far.
Julia Budd, Aspen Ladd.
Taking Bud, just because Bud's old and probably on the tough side of cooked, but Aspen Ladd, I have just no faith in Aspen Ladd. Her recent performances have been atrocious. Everything about her MMA career has been very just awful. So until I see something better come of this, I can't back her with any kind of confidence.
Ollie Walsh throwing at 20 miles an hour right now. Just saying. Smart cage. Just really I'm going at I think Aspen Ladd wins.
Ollie Walsh ain't throwing much more, buddy.
Yep.
Ollie Walsh has done his throwing and it was 20 miles an hour right to the dome.
We will take that for MMAfighting.com. Great website. Delija Sheffel. We already know where this is going, right?
Auntie Delija is going to knock this man out. I'm going to say in the second round, just like last time. And by last time, I mean 6 months ago.
Locknane Jenkins, because I'm with you on the Delija one.
Yeah. I'm going to take Locknane. He just looks so good against Wade. And I think Jenkins does fade, particularly down the stretch. So give me Locknane.
Yeah, he's looked fantastic. This is last season. I picked Jenkins, but Locknane's looked
great. Dude, arguably hasn't lost a fight in a decade.
Yeah.
That's impressive shit.
And I'll go Kayla Harrison in the main event.
Taking Kayla for sure. I do think it's a decision. I don't think she finishes Pacheco.
I think she's going to get caught in this fight. I think she's going to have a moment where like, oh my God. But then Kayla brings us back to reality.
That's the other part of it too, is like, what if Kayla gets clipped? I feel like every time that question has come about fighters like Kayla, like Khabib or whatever, it's just like, actually they have dope chins because they never get hit. So their chins are very durable and they're just like athletes. And so I'm not even that concerned if Pacheco like wallops or one good one. She'll just be like, oh, okay. well, I guess I should not get hit too many more times. I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, Kayla gets it done. I think she gets tested, but yeah, Ali Walsh, big knockout. It was very fast. I don't even think it was a minute, but all right, we are getting out of here. Appreciate it. Prelims going down. The amateur fight is out of the way. It was a vicious knockout, and
kind of dumb it was an amateur, but it's a great way to kick off a night of fights, baby.
Absolutely, and hopefully we can get right to the next fight. Just go right.
Tom
to the next
Gracer
one.
landed 3 strikes. 3.
Smart cage,
3.
baby.
Love
smart cage.
God, I love the smart cage.
All right. Well, we may see you later on. If Larissa Pacheco gets the job done, we're going to see you for about 10 or 15 minutes when this is done. But
because I'll just be doing this and laughing the whole time. It'll just be the funnest thing.
All right. Well, enjoy, everybody. And you know what?
It's going to be a great night.
$50. Let's
just
spend the $50.
Buy it.
Let's just
buy it. Look.
Let's just watch it.
Look at this. Look at this shirt. PFL, baby. Buy it. It's the Professional Fighters League.
Tom Gracer, in like a minute of fighting, looked like he got hit in the face with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that is a tough, unfortunate look.
Damn.
Yep, that was 2 very unfortunate punches, and here comes the kill shot right on down the boom.
Damn, I must be behind you.
I don't really everybody. That, dude. That sounds terrible.
Enjoy the fights,
That man
everyone.
would box Dylan Dennis's ears off.
Yeah, Dylan ain't going near this guy. For Jed, I am Mike Heck. Enjoy the PFL World Championship.
Love you guys.